Yeah, easy is right. I look a little sick, yeah? It's the fucking COVID, guys. But I can still work, and I love to do this, so why not? Well, all of a sudden, my body's doing it, so I'm watching my body. Left angle cross of distraction, the 5-1. How interesting it is that the left angle of the 62 is obscuration, and that the left angle of the 56 is distraction. And again, you can see how the left angle is going. Okay, this idea of having laws is very cool. I think it's really terrific. We need laws. If we don't have laws, we're not going to be able to advance our civilization. That's great. But if you have people focused on the law all the time, we're not going to have a society that's going to operate without fear. And one of the things about the heresy here is that the heresy is not the law for the matters. It's the quality of life that matters. It's the quality, this is the quality of life heresy. It says, I don't care if there's a dictator. We can still figure out how to party. And if in the middle of that party, while you're swooning and mooning or whatever it is you're doing, there's no dictator, there's no law. There's no law against parties. None of that exists because you're deeply distracted. And oh, how nice it is to be distracted. Anyone who has lived under these dictatorships knows this. You know that you need to find a way to distract yourself from the oppression that is around you. And this is the way to do it. So the 5-1 comes in and says, let's party, let's have a good time, let's go out there, let's be distracted. What it's really saying to you is important, something important. It's something that life itself has a certain law to it. Well, it has been many different rules, many laws. But the point is not going from one law to another. The point is seeing the movement of the whole being through the process. This is what's interesting. And what's interesting in my life is that there's not much whether you're in this side or that side of the law, but what you do on this side or on that side, what you fill up this very short time with. Only the experimental way know how fragile life is as a whole, knows that any moment, bang, you're gone. Hence the quality of life. It is what you do in your life that matters as being rather than the constraints that are placed there by laws. Don't let the government catch you. You're not allowed to have parties. It's against the law to make people happy. It's against the law to distract people from the truth. It's against the law to distract them from their responsibilities in society. And yet, distraction is the only way that you can get to purpose. Any distraction is really caring. And distraction is really caring. You don't want your children to be always focused on the rules. You want them to enjoy growing up. You want them to be properly distracted. Well, you tell them that they can go out there. It's a lot easier if they're distracted by television when they're in. Then you're not constantly in your face with a frown and a whine saying, why can't I go out? Nobody lets me go out. You're not a nice person. If you can distract them, it's great. And in the very distraction, they can find something of value. They can find something that can help them fulfill their purpose. It's a very interesting cross. Then we get to the 5-2. The 5-2, one of the heresies that you really see here is often you'll see parents who will raise their children in a very unique fashion, despite the fact that the children go out in the ordinary world. Go out in the ordinary world that obeys various rules and regulation. One of the things about distraction is that the life is not about the rules. It isn't. One thing of the cross of the laws is that you can see that it carries a 360. It's so obvious that all laws are subject to mutation. They just are. And that if you hang your star on any law, the likelihood is that it's going to be evaporate anyway. It's better to be distracted with what it's all about to be here, the story. You may live an interesting time. May you have an interesting life. May your life be full of stories. There's no better wish for the other than their life is rich with experience. This is the whole point of distraction. Enrich your life, enrich it with risk. There's risk in all this, but only in an experimental way. If you don't risk, there's nothing to be found. There's nothing to be discovered. And what's a story without a risk? Most modern cinema is action movie filled with risk taking. How excited it is for all of us. How distracting it is. You go to the theater depressed, and there is all this dairy do and jumping and risking love and risking life and risking everything. Ah, we love it. And that distraction is perfect. You walk out in a totally different space. So one of the things about the ordeal of life is that the part of the role of stimulation inherent at the 56 gate is to stimulate us with life itself, to distract us from the limitation of life, to distract us from the tension of this and that, of duality. We're being distracted. So I hope you're being distracted right now from this story that we're living in.